Taylor and Wendy Smith. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Rain out there.
That's great. I don't have to water my tomatoes.
I know, right? And turn off the sprinklers and stuff like that, right? It just kind of came out of nowhere early this morning. How does that impact some of the crew work being done? Especially, I ran into Brandon over the weekend, and we were talking about some of the things that are happening there. And I can only imagine when everybody gets up and looks outside, sees this rain, that puts a little bit of a damper on things.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday we were calling it a blessing because had we gotten our grant and had we been started with our paving, this day would have really messed things up. I mean, you pave one day and then, or we would have had to stop everything just knowing it was coming. So we were laughing, saying, well, maybe it's a good thing that the FAA is so delayed. So just an update to that project. Last week we heard from the FAA that great, we got your grant application. Now it has to go back east, and it could be a month until you.
Gosh.
So we were joking yesterday about, gosh, should we fly you, Brandon, back to DC where you can
walk it through?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't think the guys in Seattle or Renton have much say. I think it just goes through its process, and nobody really seems to care that this is paving and we're running out of weather and. So the good news is, like I said, if we had been paving, it would have been really impacted. The other thing is we are going to check today with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and they had said as soon as the project was going to be underway, we had to send the team out to survey for the lark and make sure they're gone. And I don't think we should have to do that. So, we had budgeted about $8,000 for that survey.
Sure.
And so we may be saving that money because
Is that
because
of the
late.
time or because you don't think they're even going to be?
They shouldn't be. Yeah, they're out of their season, so they shouldn't be there at this late a day. They said we didn't have to go forward if it was after August 1.
Oh.
So, but there was another piece of language in the document that said something about, if you're doing it somewhere, September something. And so we just want to be sure. So I think it's so late. Even if we got our grant today, we wouldn't be able to start until, 2 weeks or whatever,
Are there any
contractor
things you can do to get either with, so we had Drew McEwen on yesterday, state representative, also Dan Griffey, very accessible here in the 35th. That's state representation.
Right.
But can you call Congressman Kilmer or even Congressman Heck, who works within the city, to say, is there any way you guys can kind of get this going? We're I don't know if you understand Washington weather, but we're getting ready.
They live here. Yeah, they live here.
They know it, but the feds and the D.C., who knows?
Yeah, we could, but we haven't.
Yeah.
We have talked. Yeah, haven't had the need to. In the past, we've talked to Norm Dix about things.
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah, I think it. That may be right now an option, because if we really were looking at a month from last week, which I guess I'm thinking we aren't looking at that, but if we really were, we're really in trouble. Could be. Now maybe because the summer was kind of, maybe it'll be a great fall and we won't worry at all, but
you just never know.
Never know.
Yeah. And if we push if we can't finish the project or we feel like weather won't cooperate, it pushes it to spring, and guess what? April 1st is the lark season.
Yeah.
So it's it's not too typical that we have a beautiful March or a beautiful February.
The other thing I ran into when I saw Brandon, we were talking about the work you were doing to get those trees down for the pilots to have a better runway. He says that you guys sent those over to Sierra Pacific.
Oh, is that right? I didn't hear that.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, breaking news.
Because a local company. And it's not like
and there weren't very many trees.
Make $1 million on it or anything. You just send it over to them.
One.
Yeah. Excellent.
That's cool. So
it is cool.
Very
Kinda
neat.
nice to
What
keep
else
it.
is going on up there?
Well, we had our meeting yesterday.
Yeah, anything good come out of that?
Well, a couple things. We passed some lease extensions. A new lease for one company.
Nice.
One of them was marijuana grow.
Okay.
Both of them were.
Both of them were. That's right. Yeah, the extension and the new one. So we got that going.
So just kind of to tap into, we reported last week, we were pretty thrilled with the one new lease is the one stepping into the one company that failed.
Okay.
So we had the one failure of our 6. We were pretty proud of that. This company is just moving right behind them to turnkey operation, jumping right
It's all
into
ready
it.
to go. The security
Yep.
systems are
Yep.
all in
Yep,
place.
it's all there.
everything,
They just have
the
to be inspected
scrubbers
by
and
the
whatnot.
state. Yeah, so
You get the sense that because you've had good success, those groups talk to each other, or there's kind of a
I'm sure they do.
scuttlebutt somewhere
I'm
that
sure
says
they
we're
do.
looking for
Yeah.
a place.
Yeah,
Well, Porter
for
Shelton's
sure.
pretty
Yeah.
accessible.
We get questions. People want to come in, and we don't have space for them.
Right.
yeah, for sure.
Well, that's good.
And some of the ones we have that have come in kind of newer, they're looking to expand. I think we kind of felt it's kind of frightening, as I said last week, with 6 all at once, and they're all 5-year, nothing staggered.
Yeah.
And so the thought of even adding more in a, kind of a volatile business that, we kind of want to see how it shakes out. We feel really good about where we are now and the renewals and that they're prospering. But the thought of even, expanding, we had one of them talk about our existing property at 30 East Export, and that's a very large site. And really, I don't think we could put one in there because it's curb funding money.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
against the curb
Sure.
rules. So that right there takes it out. But, when you start to think about, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't want the same industry. You want to really be diversified.
diversified,
yeah.
I think. We want to be cautious. Not that we would say no, but
Either
I
with
think-
that industry or any industry, would you offer a 1-year addendum to a lease for one, a 2-year for another, to start to stagger those things, or is that
might be? We're not fond of 1-year One-year leases are not really favorable for us. One, it's a lot of work
Yeah.
to put together the lease length.
Yeah,
We have
there's-
templates,
yeah.
but there's always nuances.
or
So
if you renegotiate it, you'd say that maybe a 6-year?
yeah, we could. Or think about something to make it different, or 3-year.
I see
Yeah,
what you're
so
saying.
get a
about
staggering-
all of a
yeah.
sudden, everything comes
Yeah,
up.
it
And
was
you're like,
kinda-
"Ay, ay, ay."
It's kind of scary.
It's kind of like
And,
the election.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, and you find that with, and we're kind of looking at that with different tenants that have expanded into multiple buildings. It's really ideal to get all those, on the same schedule. And then all of a sudden, if that tenant decides they're doing something different, or they're,
Sure.
then you're kind of looking at your budget going, oh, all these buildings are going to expire at the same time, and
yeah.
you have to really think that out. And I think it's easier to think about it as, it's one company and let's just put them all under, one date. And then you go, oh, that means we could have
may
a lot
not
of
be.
vacancies all at once. So,
No, good. Very nice. Well, we look forward to continuing to hear how progress is being made in our nation's capital on this. And I know you guys are just as
Yeah.
well.
would you fly there?
Well, Brandon seems to be a pretty accomplished pilot. I'm sure he would.
That would be a nice long flight.
Go stop here, stop in Spokane, stop in
Oh,
Coeur
man.
d'Alene, Montana. All right.
8 years later.
Like
Taylor,
Amelia Earhart
Wendy
doing it.
Smith, good to see you guys.
You too.
You have
Thank
a great
you.
day.
Good